Good morning, bro. Today we have a shop day. We have 3 cars here. We have all the pushing gear cars, and unfortunately they all need work. That's just how it is. Starting off with the C6 Corvette, my personal car. That one, and it's minor things, minor details. There's some things that have been bothering me, and I'll go over that in a little bit. Then we have the S2000 here, which is my brother's car. It's completely not running right now. We gotta get it up and running. It's gonna take some troubleshooting, some diagnostics, but I'm sure we can figure it out in the time that we have today. Last but not least, we have the beautiful Integra right there. Not beautiful, but it is an Integra. It should be simple enough. We just gotta change that fender. We'll see how much we can get done today with the little time that we have. It's Memorial Day. I got the day off, so I decided, why not have a shop day today? The funny thing is how dusty all these cars are. They're extremely neglected, and we have not washed them. I just picked this up from my brother's house yesterday. Obviously haven't been running because it's got some weird issues with the engine. Dusty, dusty, dusty. Look at this thing. You may not see it here, but if we walk towards the back, this thing is freaking disgustingly dirty. And now the Integra, I don't even want to talk about the Integra. This thing's filthy. Definitely don't maintain it. To be honest, I think the Mustang might need a wash too. What a nice little garage. So with the Corvette, I just want to find out what's going on with it. We may not fix it today because we don't have any parts for it, but let's take a look. When we walk up to the car, it's got this digital touchpad. Well, not digital, but it's got this touch sensitive touchpad that when you click it, it's supposed to unlock the door. And you see the windows roll down, so the key battery is working, but for some reason the door is not releasing. Oh, there it is. It worked this time, but a lot of times it doesn't end up working. And what I end up having to do, it's something a little bit embarrassing, especially if I'm out in public and I have to go to the back of my car, do this. Oh, my phone's right here, I almost dropped it. No case life. Would have been done for. And there's this little latch that I have to pull in here to get the door open. So I have to do this every single time. And from what I've seen online and on the forums, this may be a very simple repair that all it takes is just undoing this little bolts right here, clean the terminals and connections internally, and this may solve the issue. If not, then what we have to do, we have to take this panel apart and remove the whole mechanism that's right here for the latch. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but if it does, it's still an easy fix. Funny story, the other day I was out on a coffee run. I had the keys in my pocket of my jacket. It was hot outside, so I took my jacket off, put it in here with the keys in it, and I actually locked myself out of the car. And this is the only set of keys that I have. So luckily I pushed the pad enough times to where the car actually was able to get open, and I didn't have to call a tow truck. But man, I need to get a second key. This thing's coming apart either way. So that's definitely gotta get done. It's been so long, I don't even know where my tools are at. Let's see. Here I was thinking I was retired from working on cars, and this is what I gotta do on my day off. It has been raining a lot here in San Diego, surprisingly. So I have a suspicion that it may just be a matter of cleaning the terminals in this thing, and I could possibly take care of the problem, bro, which would be great. That came off. See how dusty this thing is? Oof. All right, come out, bro, come out. Connections look pretty good, looks solid. Oh, don't push this in back here. If you push this in, you're either gonna have to go fishing for it, or you may have to pull the door card out. Let's not do that. Let's clean what we have here. All right, so this is a very important lesson that mechanics can relate to. So I had like 7 pads of Scotch-Brite that I was gonna need to clean the terminals and all of that. I think I threw them away because they were dirty, and it had been a long time since I used them. I wanted to clear up some space. And the moment you do that, that's when you need them. A lot of times you may think that mechanics are hoarders. We have random things like this battery bracket and other things you may necessarily not need. The moment you throw them away, you end up needing them. And that's exactly what happened today. All right, so this is the plan. We're gonna open this up and we're gonna see how the electrical connections are doing. Then we have electrical parts cleaner. So apparently this is supposed to be super bright clean, like if it was a brand new penny. I do see a little bit of black marks. It's not horrible, but it'll definitely clean up the surface on both, clean them up really well, put it back together and see if the pad works best. All right, so the moment of truth. We're gonna see if it worked or not. I have not tested it out. I just finished putting the 2 bolts in. So we'll see if it opens up. And release this one time. No, it's not releasing yet. it's not working. Even if I try from the inside, it doesn't release, so that's what lets me know it's the latch. That was kind of a fail, but at least we know what we have to order. I'm gonna go ahead and order it right now. So this is my C6 and we just did the sound system on it, but when I turn on the ignition and I try to listen to the sound system, when the car is not running, it sounds normal like any other sound system. But the moment I turn on the car, it's making this weird sound. It's like an interference sound, like a buzzing sound that gets transmitted through the speakers. And the thing that is alarming is that my charging system has been acting up a little bit. If we look right here, when the car is not starting, I feel like the battery voltage is just a little bit low. I feel like it should be closer to 12 and a half, but it's right around, I'd say 11-ish. No issues, right? Everything sounds nice and quiet and no additional abnormal noises. But the moment I start up the car, it's kind of hard to spot it because of the engine sound. But you do hear, it sounds like one of those tea makers. It sounds like a little whistling sound that's relative to the RPMs. I hear it coming through the speakers right now, and my voltage is at 14.1, which is not ideal. I think we have a bad alternator, boys. What do you think? I hear it right now. I very faintly hear the sound, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna disconnect the alternator. That way it's not functioning at all. And if the noise goes away, then that lets me know that the alternator has a bad diode that's transmitting like interference, RFI, or whatever you want to call it. So the more I rev it, the louder the buzzing sound gets. And I've had other cars where a bad alternator has caused that noise. So by disconnecting the alternator, it's going to let us know if it's related to a bad alternator, which would be related to the low voltage charge. If it's not relative to that, then it's going to be something in the installation of the new sound system. Either a bad head unit, maybe some of the power wires are close to the RCA cables or the speaker cable, and it's causing that interference. So alternator disconnected, the car's still gonna start, but we'll see if we can still spot that interference sound. I don't hear it right now. I don't hear it at all. Another quick test we can do right here, checking the voltage at the battery. We are reading 13.94, which is not good. It should be closer to 14.5, so that's how we know the alternator is weak. As we also put it on measuring the AC voltage here, it should be less than 0.1. We'll see where we're at right now. 0.01, which is not bad, but that doesn't mean the alternator is not faulty. It is jumping around a bit, but either way, I think we have to replace the alternator. That's my diag. That's the part I'm gonna throw at it, and we'll see how it does. All right, so we can cross the Corvette off the list. There's a bad diode inside of the alternator that's creating like a ripple charge. The interesting thing is that the OEM alternator for this car is about $1,000, which we're not gonna go with. We're probably gonna upgrade to something aftermarket, and I am gonna order the door latch for that. That's gonna get done. We're gonna skip the S2K for now because I know it's gonna take me a little bit longer. And let's just knock out the fender because I don't believe it'll take us that long. It's been here for a while. I'm tired of carrying it. All right, come on now, bro. How difficult could this be? Look at this nice fender. Has just a few bolts right here on the top, some bolts right here at the bottom. I just have a fender liner in here, a few bolts here, a few clips. We can get it done fast, bro. I'm not gonna lie and say that I didn't miss this feeling. It feels right. Here it is. Who needs a new paint job when you can just replace panel by panel and make the car look brand new, right? Am I right, guys? All right, the hard part is done. We did all the heavy lifting already. Best part, I can throw this piece of shit away. Oh yeah, by the way, look at how nice it looks. Look at how clean it looks. Now it's time to use the big brain power and diagnose what's going on with this S2K. The main issue we're having with it right now, when we start it up and start driving it, sometimes it doesn't idle nice. It starts stuttering a little bit. When you're driving down the road, it feels like if the clutch was slipping. It starts jerking pretty bad. It's got a check engine light on, and it runs like shit. It stalls out when you're in the freeway too. which is not good.
Cylinder 1 misfire, cylinder 2, 3, 4, random misfire, and then this code, which is I believe a misfire code also.
So if you have a misfire on your SDK, something very common, the grommets in the valve covers go bad and the oil starts leaking into the cylinders, causing the misfire. That's a possibility. You got bad coils, or the connections to the coils are faulty. Also, the connections to this sensor right here, which I believe is a cam sensor, tends to break, and that one back there too. So I'm gonna check all the connections, make sure the PCV is not plugged up also. Another trick you can do that may work, may not work, is you get an infrared gun and you start measuring the heat of each coil. And if one coil is a lot colder than the other ones, you know that ignition coil is not working properly. There shouldn't be any variance in the heat of the coils, the operating temperature. This is nice and dry, brand new. I don't see any oil in there. I'm still gonna check the plugs. So far, all the coils are in good shape. All the connectors are good. This PCB valve is also in good condition. If we look at it, it is functioning, it is activating. Yep, this is good quality. Okay, so the main thing that catches my attention right now, look at these spark plugs. This is from the cylinder all the way on the back, and this is from the cylinder before it. This one looks like normal wear, but you want to see a nice tan color in it. When you look at the one all the way in the back, it's really clean and it's wet. So it's definitely throwing a lot of fuel on this back cylinder. So we may have something like a leaking injector. It may be that all the injectors are going bad. That's the one thing we have not replaced. You see the blackness of it as if it was fouling. You don't see that one here. I did adjust the valves previously. The connections on the injectors are good also. I'm gonna check the resistance of the injectors, but it's very possible that those are the original injectors, which means we should probably replace them. I looked through the valve train, the spark plugs, PCV valve, all the injectors. Injectors have the proper resistance. Now that doesn't mean that the spray pattern is proper inside of the engine. Everything looks excellent. There's gonna be something very minor that causes big issues, but we're gonna figure it out. Possibly not today. And even though I didn't make as much progress as I would have liked, you got to see all the cars lined up here in the garage, which you don't usually get to see. So thank you for tagging along, bro. We'll see how it turns out. This was just a little update, but we'll see you next week and we'll get shit done.